Hey, welcome back to another episode of Real Men Unscripted. I'm Derek.
I'm Domingo. Welcome back.
I'm Kevin.
And you can tell we got a big buffed dude here in the middle that kind of looks like me. He could be related to one of us.
I'm excited. We got my boy here, my oldest son, Kevin. He decided he can join us for this episode on our podcast. Yeah. Thanks for being here, Kev, dog.
Yeah, no problem. I've been looking forward to be a guest on this podcast. So
it took him a while to start listening, though, but he listens now.
Your dad doesn't, but I have tagged you a couple times on Facebook.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you mind if I tag you every time?
Sure.
Since your dad doesn't have Facebook?
Yeah, I have a lot of I have family members that probably see it from my Facebook.
Okay, so I'm going to start doing that. I'll just do Jerry and you every time.
Okay. Yes, please.
Because
I don't have social media.
Which is ridiculous, but...
he's a old school.
Yeah. So... anyhow, so you have listened to this. So kind of tell us, we're going to do two-parter. This will be part one. We'll do another one that will drop. And remember, we're dropping every other Friday. So this will drop the Friday before Christmas. So tell us about yourself, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty about how it is being a cop's son.
Ooh. Anywho, my name's Kevin Lucero. I'm his son. I'm the oldest of three kids. I have a younger sister and a younger brother. I start by saying I was born in Downey, California.
I was born in East LA, man.
I don't know how long we were there until we moved, but my dad decided to get a job with the Metro Police Department. So he took my family and we made our way to Vegas, and I've been here ever since. So I can say I'm Cali born, but I've basically lived in Las Vegas, Nevada my whole life. So
yeah, he was born in May. We left in July.
Okay, so
that's pretty much born and raised.
2 months of a Cali kid, yeah.
Can you imagine driving in those days with a 2-month-old?
Yeah, wow. And so what do you? So I found out while we were talking that you have a new job, but you were an ambulance driver or EMT.
Yes.
For community. I thought you worked for AMR, but so tell us
rivalry.
about. Yeah, right. So tell us about that.
So I was working for community ambulance for about 3 years. So we have about 3 companies that really take care of all of Las Vegas. We have Medic West and AMR, which basically are the same company, just different sub genres of the same company, but they basically take everything north of Sahara, basically most of Las Vegas territory. Community ambulance kind of shares with Henderson Fire, and we kind of take care of everything south of Sahara, which is basically Inspirada, Southwest Vegas, and mostly Henderson.
So with your brother being fire, since you wouldn't go on a call most likely with him, or have you been on a call with him?
I know we have story time at the end, but I have a crazy call. The only call I ever ran with my brother, because my brother just got hired on with Clark County Fire.
No, that'd be a second story for the next one.
I can think of something after that, but
so you have been on a call with him?
Yes, I ran one call with him.
They actually work together too at community.
Yeah, so community ambulance and Clark County Fire Department are partnered together. So every single critical call, so there's basic life support, intermediate life support, advanced life support. That advanced life support is critical people, and where you need a medic on scene. So every one of those calls, community ambulance partners with Clark County Fire Department, and they tackle that call together.
Okay.
So yeah, they're the only call I ever ran on. My brother is basically I don't know where his station is specific, but it's on Blue Diamond and Fort Apache, way out there.
Okay.
So yeah, we ran on a call, and this.
Don't say the story. Save it for later.
Well, I have at community ambulance, working as an ambulance. You could have a crazy call every day, so I got something for them. But the only call I ever ran with my brother, there's this guy who was, he just had bandaging on his shoulder, so we're just like, oh, okay, it's an easy call. Maybe he got stabbed or something. But no, this guy ended up getting hacked up by a machete.
Oh wow!
And the guy pierced his right shoulder. And it's crazy because my brother made it seem so nonchalant. He's just like, oh yeah, it was just stabbing. And I was like, all right, well, let me see it. And then, so we get the patient in the car, and then we open up the bandage and we look inside. You could see the heart beating from where he got stabbed.
Wow.
It was crazy. And the guy was like, yeah, let's go to the hospital and let's get this patched up. He was so nonchalant about it. I'm like, dude, I can see your
So
heart.
that's why your brother was?
I can see your heart beating right now. So,
Wow.
it was cool. It was cool to be able to work with my brother. Cause
And you see your sister too at the hospital.
yeah, my sister's a scribe at the hospital. So,
They got to see.
It's
each
a
other.
family affair.
yeah. Well, not anymore. But, yeah, in those 3 years, yeah, it was cool. I'd take patients to St. Rose, and I'd see my sister taking all the notes that I have on the reports I'd give to the doctor. So it was cool. It was
Nice.
really
Now,
interesting.
when you and your brother both worked for community, did you ever actually be in the same car together? Did they allow that, or?
They did,
Oh.
but we just never, we were never running on the same.
Different shit.
I unfortunately, like we were both testing for fire, so there would be times where I'd make the academy and he wouldn't, and when he got into Clark County, and
okay.
I would. So we were just on different,
Schedules,
just schedules. So
Okay.
yeah,
And then recently you got a new job
Yes.
that you're
Wait,
excited about.
He got 3 life-saving awards.
Oh, yeah. Your dad wants to make sure.
I didn't want to brag, but no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, your dad wanted to make sure that was in there.
He
So
saved lives. Like, that's big.
Yeah, so I.
3 more than your dad ever saved, right?
I'm sure my dad saved plenty, but no, we have this thing at Community Ambulance. I'm sure it's for every
Has your brother won it
ambulance
too?
company. I don't think he's never told me they've actually
Okay.
got a save award. So maybe he's just being on the DL about
Humble.
it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Humble.
but so I guess blessed is not the right word because we had to deal with the dead patient, but
You're blessed because they lived.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was a cool opportunity to be a part of what we call clinical save awards, which is when we are awarded a clinical save when we go to a call, the patient dies on scene or en route to the hospital in the pre-hospital setting. So before they get to the hospital, the patient dies, and then we bring them back to life one way or the other. It's what we call ROSC, when they return, the pulse returns after they are clinically dead, which is no pulse and no breathing. So when that happens, we get them into the hospital, and if that patient stays alive and makes a full recovery and walks out of that hospital, then we're awarded a clinical save.
Wow.
And I had
He got 3.
yeah, I was blessed with the opportunity to be a part of 3 of those, which is crazy because as an EMT, it just doesn't happen. So,
And with that, do they like give you that? But is it written up somewhere like on an evaluation? So like it helps you for jobs or things like that. Do they make a big deal about it, or it's like
no, it's
here you go, here's your coin, and just toss it to you? Or-
basically it's just you did your job, but we recognize that you did an excellent job.
Yeah.
You know how I found out? They mailed it to him.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, there's something heavy.
they
in
actually
here.
do
He said doo-doo.
He said doo-doo.
a dinner, but I'm one of those guys. I'm just like I did my job. This is what I signed up for. I'm saving lives. So
Trying to be humble. Take the free meal, man. Take the free meal like I do on Veterans Day.
that was my mindset. I'm just like, I did my job. That's what I signed up for. So, but the crazy part is, I know a lot of people watching this, you see these shows on TV, you see the movies. In real life, saving a life is extremely rare.
Yep.
I think you can run 100 calls and you'll maybe if you're lucky, you'll save 97 people. I mean, 97 won't make it. In the movies, 97 will make it, but it is very rare. It is very rare for a life for someone to be resuscitated back to life. So, and to make a full recovery and walk out the hospital.
Well, I hope the male subject at our work today that over the radio I heard that they were doing compressions, and then they did the machine, the AED
Okay.
3 times before fire and rescue got there. Hopefully he'll be okay.
Yeah, I hope so too. But for all those listening, I think the best thing you could possibly do for a patient, they're pretty cheap. find a weekend, maybe do a CPR class. It could save a life for you one day. That's the best thing you could do for someone who just dies right in front of you, is start CPR immediately. That's the best way you can save someone. You don't need all these fancy tools. Just do CPR and call a medic as soon as possible, and you have a chance to save a life too. But like I said, I mean, it's funny because I talked to medics, and they said they've gone 7 years. They're very jealous of me because they'll go 7 and
You're
10
a Lucero, man. That's why.
They'll go 7 to 10 years, and they won't see one life saved.
Wow.
They'll never get a resuscitation. They'll never see one of those clinical saves. So yeah, I do say I'm blessed with the opportunity, but yeah, I mean, it was just cool thing to be a part of.
So would
Now-
you consider this life-saving if you go to a guy who's in jail and he's lethargic and you call for medical and they come and they take his blood sugar and it's a 13 and they start squirting stuff in his mouth and he survives?
So the only way you get a clinical save is
He has to die.
no pulse and no breathing.
Well, they gave me at least a accommodation.
That's really good though. Yeah, a lot of
because he wasn't acting right. He was a murder suspect, professor who killed his wife. Probably should have let him die, but I didn't.
Really?
Oh, that's cold.
No, I'm kidding. But I could tell he was lethargic, not making sense. I asked his roommates, "Hey, is he doesn't, because I knew him, right? Because every day we had to deal with him because he had no legs." Anyhow, yeah, they wrote a accommodation.
That's a story for another day. A murderer with no legs?
Yeah.
good.
Yep. Still good. Still recording.
Now, I got a question on this AED machine thing. Like,
Yes.
who uses it? Can anybody use it, or do you have to be certified?
I would
use
say you definitely get trained for
when
it.
you do the CPR class, they now train you.
Yeah, they train you on
with
the
that.
AED because
On the AED?
Well, at least they did it us for
They're all
work.
the same, though, right? Because I
There's-
see them in
yes.
all public buildings.
There's different
now.
machines, but
Yeah.
they're all one and the same. You'll put the pads on. There's an automated voice that'll tell you what to do.
And the pad actually tells you where to
And honestly,
place it.
honestly,
and-
I don't even think you need class because I forgot. They do have diagrams of where to place it.
Yeah.
One here and then right below the
But
heart.
nowadays, kind of like the guy who tried to save the people on the subway, you almost don't want to get involved because if you do put it on them and the person dies, they're probably going to sue you for
Yeah.
not knowing where to put it.
Yeah.
But
People want quick
you know.
cash nowadays.
But that guy just got off, thank goodness.
Yeah. The
Now there's
veteran.
going to be riots. But
Thank you for your service. But imagine this guy doing chest compressions.
Yeah.
He'll break your ribs.
Yeah.
But he would be gone as he's doing it, with
No, I just did push-ups before this. I got a little pump in so I
like
could
this.
show off.
his,
That's actually what you do for the babies.
Yeah.
You do
on
for
the back.
for the infants. Yeah, but no, it's very very strategic when we do CPR. You're not just pumping the chest as hard as you could. Yeah, like you see in those TV shows and movies, it's not the right way to do it. You're trying to get a rhythm on the heart. You're just pumping it. You're not crushing it. You're just pumping it.
So prior to that, did your dad or did you ever, like growing up, right? Because like you said, you moved here 2 months, he started. So basically your whole life, he was a cop until he recently retired. Did you ever have the urge to be a police officer on the streets, or did he try to talk you out of that?
So I did at first. I think what I've always wanted to do is I've always wanted to serve my community. I see what my dad has done my whole life, and I mean, he did it the right way. So yeah, I've always had the innate desire to serve the people of my city. I love them all. So, but what convinced me to try fire was actually my dad. He's like, there's some crazy things going on with policing. I want you to go fire, and the money's with fire. It's not with policing. So, yeah, he actually can push me more towards pursuing fire because he knew it was a better life for me than being a police officer. So,
Sure.
I did always have that desire to if on my very last I can't think of the word right now. My fail safe is gonna be would have been policing if nothing else worked out. which is crazy now because fire never worked out for me. I tried for 7 years, and
Well, marshals are always hiring if you want to still
Well,
have that urge. Just,
you're gonna have to talk with the Lovewell Center on that one because I think I'm here there to stay. But
so tell us about that, the new job
yeah,
that you
so,
got with the Lovewell.
You know,
Tell them what the Lovewell
Yeah,
is.
gotcha. So, I mean, just that road was crazy for me. I know immediately after I graduated college, I was going to pursue fire. So I tried it's going on 7 years now. Yeah. I tried getting into fire and just nothing was happening. I do interviews, never get calls after. I made a couple academies, and they were so brutal, but just things happened during my academy that, kind of derailed me and kind of led me to, failing out. But, now I look back on it and I'm just like, this is all God's plan. Throughout all those 7 years, I've been begging God, because failing consistently in the fire department, it kind of takes a toll on you. So, but I think God was using those lessons of failing out of fire departments for me to really lean onto Him, because I think in that moment God needed me to kind of bring my walls down and really lean. And I've always wanted to be an independent guy and never wanted to help from anyone. So for me to be dependent on God was just a crazy subject for me, or a crazy idea.
Right.
So I think God used those lessons. He's like, this is a closed door, son. I don't want you here. But if you're going to keep trying, all right, we're going to have to break your walls down, and you're going to have to soften your heart and really lean
like
on me.
Your dad there a little bit.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, God used those lessons, and He really led me to where He truly wanted me to be, which was full-time ministry.
Keep going.
So
That's fine.
So yeah, I after this last attempt I had with Henderson Fire, I never got a call back, and I was just so extremely frustrated, and so I just didn't know what was happening. So I was continuing to pray, and really, trying to trust in God and where He wanted me. And the wonderful thing is God will always answer. You go to pray, and He's always going to answer. It may not be in your timeline, in the timeline you want, but God's going to answer every time. And for me, it took 7 years. So, I mean, I think 4 or 5 months ago, I was praying. I was like, God, I don't think this is working for me. Finally, after 7 years, it got through my head, like, I don't think this is where you want me, God. So,
meaning at the
fire
doing
department,
the fire department.
doing the fire department, I'm just like, maybe this is not where I'm meant to be, because I mean, my brother tried twice and got in immediately, and then I'm over here still trying. So
were you thinking maybe I just need to stick with the EMT thing, or?
So I only did EMT to fluff my resume for the fire department, but it was just nothing was working. So I was frustrated. I was getting desperate, and in those moments, in that weakness, I really, really saw God's strength, and He was just like, "All right, God, Kevin, I need you to understand now. Okay, this is where I want you now." So I prayed, and He answered my prayer. Maybe a month later, we were at post during one of my EMT shifts, and I get a call from Kat Halls, which she is the director of the hub, Las Vegas, the entire thing. So.
Which is part of Hope Church.
Yes, it's a nonprofit organization. It's
Partners with Hope.
Yeah, right? They're a ministry with 5 lanes that deals with human trafficking, foster families, schools, homelessness and poverty, and racial reconciliation. So that is our ministry that partners with Hope Church, and she runs it all. So she called me one day, just out of the blue, and she's like, "Hey, we have a spot open for you, and I really think you're perfect for this spot."
Now this spot was open for a while, though,
Yes,
right?
I had been looking at this spot because I served at the Lovewell Center, which is the first lane. not the first lane, one of the lanes of the hub, and that is the one that deals with people who are suffering from homelessness and poverty. So
you've been doing that for years.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've been serving
Volunteering,
for a
serving.
very long time. So
Volunteering, not getting paid,
but
and going to areas that are not the nicest.
yeah, so that does tie in with our purchase program, which is the one that has to do with
Sex
human trafficking. So we'd go into dangerous areas and really, get resources for people and really get them back to a restored life. But we can talk about this in the next episode. I'm just that's the bare minimum. But so
Cat called you.
yeah, she calls me out of the blue and she's like, I really want you for this position. We think you're perfect for the spot. You've been serving there for years. And yeah, we think you're a perfect fit for the spot. So at that moment, I had told God, like, anything, just give me a sign, Lord, and I'll put my yes on the table. It's yours. And whatever you tell me.
And this was a full-time
And so yeah, this
spot. And what's the position?
So it is now. I am now the Lovewell Center member advocate. So what I do is we help run the Lovewell Center, which is a resource center for homelessness, people suffering from homelessness and poverty, and and as the advocate, I help with like getting people housing. I help try and get them any resources I can.
Clothing, food.
That's just the Lovewell Center in general.
Okay.
As a member advocate, I help people like get resources to. I mean, if they need birth certificates, licensing.
So everything.
Yeah. So whatever resources we can provide for them, like for housing, leads on just staying in rehab or anything like that. I help find and provide for them, and I basically help disciple these people through probably one of the worst times of their lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really try and be true ambassadors of the message that God has for these people, and it's that there is hope.
Yeah.
That there's so many people walk through those doors hopeless, and we are the messengers. We're not the ones who are the hope, but we show them, that there is a God who loves them, that sees them, that values them, and it's just so incredible. But
So
yeah,
congrats.
that's
How long
basically-
ago did you get that?
So I got,
Because I didn't even know.
This is
so
actually
it was like breaking news for me.
I'm actually in the middle of my second week.
Okay.
Yeah, we had
And he tested for it, did the whole process. It just wasn't given to him.
Pretty tough interview. Hey, come on in. Job's yours.
No,
No.
it's just a formality. So I just never just like.
Probably didn't even wear a tie,
Yes, he did. Because I put the tie on.
I wore swim
tied it
swim
for
trunks and a white
There you
beater. But no, it's been fun. But yeah,
And so you're working with the new guy. Like I just saw a video,
The new
and he
director.
looked different. So there's a new director for
yeah.
the.
So our Lovewell Center has actually gone through a big change. So we actually have a new director and a new program coordinator who have just so phenomenal. I met them during my interview, and I was a little iffy because I'm always a skeptic. So I'm always a little iffy, like maybe this isn't the right job for me. But I met those two, Riley and Joseph, and they're such great people,
Cool.
and they love the Lord. They love the Lord so much. So to be able to work with them, they've welcomed me with open arms, and it's been so easy to just really get assimilated into the job. So
Nice.
That's awesome.
yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Your
thank
dad
you.
will take you out for a congratulations.
I
We will.
buy him dinner every day.
Yeah.
Filet mignons. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
All right.
no,
So,
because he eats too.
So, all right. So your dad always talks about like this, how amazing you are in football and as a quarterback, and you teach kids to be quarterback and stuff like that. So, like you played in high school and like,
Yeah.
I think you got like a scholarship for college or something. Or
No,
No,
No.
unfortunately not.
he got
wanted to or
He
something.
got some looks, but he didn't go
Yeah.
take the business.
My height kind of hindered me from that. But,
Okay.
So I guess I'll start from the beginning. It's growing up. Well, from birth, I was born into a generational curse of being a Cowboy fan.
I'm so sorry.
It's tough. It's been a rough road.
Hey, mid '80s.
Actually,
Or
you
90s.
can,
I didn't get to see
Mid-nineties?
it.
actually this year you can talk crap
Yeah.
because they beat us
they-
this year.
Yeah, but
Three
man,
crappy teams that
You know,
beat
it's
us.
one thing that the only generational curse I'll try not to break is my kids are going to be Cowboys fans. They're going to have to suffer too.
Gosh,
But,
I'm sorry.
Now there's baby pictures of me just holding the football in a Cowboys gear. So I was born into it, but one thing my dad always showed me was just obviously the reign of the Cowboys in the 90s, and Troy Aikman was the head of that three-headed monster, and watching him play him, it was just, I fell in love with the sport. I mean, him throwing a football, which is a work of art, him being a leader and leading what was a circus of a team and really bringing them together to just become one dominant unit for years was so inspiring to me. So, that's still probably one of my favorite athletes to this day is Troy Aikman.
I definitely love that video of him where he's chewing the people.
offensive lineman.
the
Yeah,
lineman.
you don't see that nowadays. That's a true leader.
Yeah, I love that one. And
'Cause
when he's yelling
all-
at the coach, do I have to be the coach too? That's not my job.
I mean,
like,
he had to deal with Michael Irvin, who was going through a lot. He had to deal with just a bunch
Emmett.
of ragtag
Still Emmett,
group
I
of
mean.
linemen who were always getting in trouble or
Yeah.
getting into act. I mean, he had to deal with insanely talented players, but these guys were just
Ghetto.
unhinged.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
unhinged. So I think he was the centerpiece of that team. To where, I mean, obviously Jimmy Johnson was an incredible coach, but to see Troy Aikman really bring these guys
just
together.
think how many they would have had if they kept him.
I'm still mad at Jerry Jones to this day.
They'd have way more than the Patriots,
Yeah.
more than the Steelers.
But yeah, so I would
So-
watch. I mean, I always wanted to wear number 8, no matter where I played. So that was my biggest
He's
inspiration.
definitely a great announcer now.
Yeah. Yes. And
Yeah.
tied with Romo, but
Yeah.
we'll get there. So yeah, I actually, the funny part is I started as a linebacker for the Steelers. My dad,
Flag football.
Yeah, in flag football. My dad growing up was a linebacker. He played football blind. He didn't have goggles that could fit in his helmet. He had
Like Eric Dickerson?
he had the big Derek Brooks, like
Face mask,
full cage face mask, the
neck roll.
the neck roll, the 90s, just insanely large pads, and he was 120 pounds and
125,
5'8". Just imagine that. And then he would play blind, and he'd play linebacker, and they, from what I told, they excelled. I still haven't seen the film, so
Yeah.
I have to be the judge of that. But
It's on a VHS. tape.
yeah,
I'll find it.
yeah.
I'll find it somewhere. Like Will Chamberlain's 100-point game. We still don't know. We still don't know if that was true. But so I followed my dad's footsteps, and I played linebacker for the Steelers, which is crazy.
For 1 year.
Yeah. My dad's partner was a big Steelers fan. They kind of worked together, and my dad had to strike a deal that if he coached, we'd have to be the Steelers. So, but ever since then we were Cowboys. Yeah. So so I played linebacker. I loved the idea of pulling flags, getting tackles, and all that. So, quarterback wasn't even in my mind. But growing up, my dad was actually his primary sport. The sport he loved the most was baseball. So he really wanted me to be a primary baseball player. So that was the first sport I ever started playing was baseball. So I had an arm to begin with because my dad was always putting me in the outfield, third base, never shortstop, but pitcher, to where I was always just throwing. So I naturally just had an arm. So in that first year, we just didn't have a quarterback. We didn't have a guy who could throw a ball past 5 yards. I mean, we're all 5-6-year-olds, so not really many, but I could throw the ball 7 yards. So my dad was like, "You're playing quarterback."
Not me. Coach
Yeah.
Uncle Darren was the one that said,
Yeah. So
I need a quarterback. Your son can throw. I'm going to make him a quarterback.
But we ended up going 0-10,
0-10.
Yeah, 0-10. Never won a game, but in those days we had a everyone makes the playoffs kind of rule, and to this day I get to brag that we beat the number 1 team that year. Our only win ever. We got smoked the next round, but that 1 year
Wow.
we beat the best team.
we beat
though.
the best team. I still remember the greatest pass I ever threw was to my
Bear.
running back named Bear. And he never listened. He never, he had short attention span because he was 5, but he also just wouldn't pay attention. So, but he was just running for whatever reason. I think the Lord intervened to where he ran the most perfect route possible, and I was just like, oh, he's open, and I just threw it as far as I could, as hard as I could, and I still remember it to this day. And it landed perfectly in his. I'm like, this guy looked like prime CD Lamb, just perfect catch right into the end zone, and we ended up winning that game 7-6, something like that. So,
All the parents went crazy.
yeah, it was one of the highlights of my life at 5 years old.
Yep.
One of the best throws I ever made in my lilife. But yeah, from then on, I ended up playing quarterback because my dream was to be quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, always because of Troy Aikman. So, my dad was good on, letting me follow my dreams. I know he always wanted me to, be a military man like he was, or, end up being a police officer. But I always told my dad, I want to be an athlete, I want to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. And now looking back on it, now that I see Juan Soto signing for $765 million, I really should have listened to him and really focused on baseball. But
I'll probably never go to
And
another.
this is just
baseball
one example of his talent. Because I used to coach him in baseball. I wasn't the head coach, but they put him in center field. And this kid ripped like a ball over his head. And this kid nonchalantly is running to the ball, grabs it, right? And I mean, he's touching the fence in center field. And he launches the ball from center field on one bounce and throws the kid out at home. Yeah. And the head coach was like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" And I'm like, "I told you he can throw." And it wasn't a lollipop. It was one of these line drives. And I'm like, he even wowed me like, "Oh my Lord."
Yeah.
Like, but that's just the kind of talent he had. And he had it. It just seemed like it wasn't the sport for him. Because, at 5, 6 years old, it's kind of boring. Baseball's boring.
well, one big thing is I was scared to hit
Yes.
because I was scared of getting hit by the baseball.
Because I hit him once during
Because
batting
I
practice.
think to this day, I don't remember. I think I played against an MLB player. It was either Bryce Harper or Gallo.
Oh.
Because I remember one day this kid we played a team. He was like, everyone was here and he was here. And one of our best pitchers threw him a pitch and he hit it, I think almost 350 feet as a 12-year-old. And it broke a car window, and we were just like.
But this is later.
We had never,
Yeah.
we had never seen people hit home runs because we were just barely getting out of the infield. And this guy was hitting home run, and he was throwing 80. It felt like 80 miles per hour.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't see the ball when I was I had my butthole puckered. I was urinating down my pants. I'm like, this guy is throwing real BBs, and I never saw the baseball, and to this day, I still see smoke coming out of that baseball when he was pitching. But that could have been me just being a coward.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
But yeah, no. But I mean, my passion lied with football. So.
And now you help kids if they want to as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, he started with his sister and his little brother.
Yeah.
Because we went to a lot of camps to try and make his dream, reality. So they taught him how to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
We went to different camps that teach different things. He'll talk about right now about the Johnson camp, which is one of the best ones ever. But yeah, so some teach you how to read defenses, some teach you the basics, of stance and
Throwing
how to
mechanics.
throw. So we went to different camps and all over the West Coast. We never went to the East Coast.
But my dad, for a minute, it struggled for my dad that I didn't want to be a baseball player.
Yeah.
Because obviously this was his passion, but he quickly jumped on the train of, all right, if you want to make the NFL, let's make it happen. So every summer I was doing camps. We were full steam ahead. If I wasn't at a camp, we were throwing the footballs 1 to 2 hours a day, every day.
Now, would the whole family go, or would Rocio stay with the other
I think my
two?
brother was a little too young. My sister,
She would go.
yeah, she would go, but she couldn't really catch well, so I needed someone to catch me. So I had my dad out there. But, yeah, once they were able to grow, my sister became a quarterback for her high school.
Coronado
And in
also.
the first year that women's varsity football became an actual sport in high school, and then my brother followed.
But it was still just flag.
yeah
For the girls,
for
yes.
the girls,
Okay.
yes. But
He actually coached her his first year, too.
yeah.
In
Wow.
high school.
But Yeah, so I in high school I was doing camps, and you were talking about one of my favorite camps is Bob Johnson's quarterback camp. Which, if you don't know who Bob Johnson is, he is is perennial the right word? One of the top coaches for camps as a quarterback, but. He was the one who led the Elite 11 when it first started, which is a camp for the top quarterbacks in the nation who compete. And I want to say it's 90 to 95% of those quarterbacks that make those camps end up playing in the NFL. Something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But
you got to meet Mark Sanchez?
yeah.
I don't think he runs it anymore, but it still goes.
Yeah, he
right?
ended up
Alzheimer's.
developing Alzheimer's, and his sons took over, but they quickly kind of retired from the sport.
Yeah, both sons played in the NFL.
Yeah,
Brad
and
Rob,
Bob.
USC, UCLA.
I remember Brad, and who was the other one?
Brad was from UCLA, and then
He
Michigan
played
State.
for the Buccaneers, right?
And Rob played
And
for
Rob,
Bucks too.
and he was at USC.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then Mark Sanchez, he got to meet him at one of the camps.
So Mark Sanchez actually went to that school. So at one of the camp years, he was just there to train, and this was before the fumble. He, this is when he was like beating Tom Brady.
Yes.
And almost make it to multiple Super Bowls. So he quickly became my idol. I was like, this is the NFL quarterback, and.
Plus, he was Mexican like us.
Yeah, it was unheard of.
Really? I didn't know that.
It was unheard of.
Sanchez Lucero. No.
Because I think the only other Hispanic quarterback was Plunkett.
Yeah. That was
There
before.
none,
Yeah.
But yeah, to see a Hispanic quarterback, I'm like, oh, he's living my dream. But he's probably one of the coolest players I've ever met. He's still one of my favorite players to this day, even though people make fun of him because he's just easy to make fun of because all the things he did. But I love the guy. He actually, my brother had insanely long hair. Like everyone thought he was my sister. But he'd come up play with my brother. He played catch with my brother, and then he ended up
Patted his head, and we didn't cut his hair for like a year.
So meeting him was awesome. I love the guy, and then he ended up playing for the Cowboys, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. But so those camps were amazing. My dad was great, and
Well, any pictures you guys have, make sure you get them to Jerry. He can
also
post
has
some.
this video from the what is it where we trained to jump and run and all that.
Oh yeah,
what is that called? That's on the internet still.
I think so.
What is it called? Like where you jump and you run the 40-yard.
Oh,
the combine.
The combine.
Pass. Oh, the
Combine,
combine.
Yeah.
You did a combine?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Faith Lutheran High School.
So when my senior, I was just blessed with the opportunity to just
But it was a struggle.
Yeah,
like the
at
4 years
first.
at Coronado were a struggle, but his senior was accumulation of everything, and he just he took the team to regionals. And they hadn't even made the playoffs in years.
Yeah, my all 4 years I was fighting. My coaches were always recruiting because a lot of them didn't want me playing quarterback because of the height thing. So they would recruit guys from New Jersey, like Don Bosco Prep. They brought a guy from there, and Don Bosco Prep is a powerhouse of a high school. And they brought kids from Gorman. I was competing my whole career, but those camps, all that training ended up paying off, and I ended up securing the starting quarterback spot my senior year. I played varsity for 2 years, but it was 3 years before starting my sophomore year. But my sophomore year, it was such a blur because I was thrown into a den of wolves because I was just like, this is varsity football. Everyone's just 10 times faster than me, and at the quarterback level, when you don't understand quarterback and reads and all that, the game is so fast. It is insane. Like, you were trying to make reads that you see in practice, and you're like, oh, this should be same as the game. But everyone's just going 100 miles per hour. There's 4 dudes, sometimes 7, because Green Valley was ruthless. There was just 7 dudes trying to rip my head off, and I would go up to the
Not to mention his best friend was one of them.
Yeah, he definitely wanted to rip my head off. But I would go up to the center, and I would be so scared to hike the ball. And I ended up just finding every way to really, really develop as a quarterback. All those camps, all those things really developed my mental, and I was able to really understand the game of football to where my senior year, the game was so slow. Like, I would snap the ball. I'm like, oh, this is easy. This is practice. This is nothing.
Wow.
The reads are there. Like, it is night and day. When you really prep, it is night and day.
So is there anybody that, since you've been out of high school and out of college, that you've taught that's kind of gone to a college to play? Or?
So I've trained just quite a few quarterbacks growing up. A lot of my brother's friends.
Well,
Anyone.
kids that we had like in our flag football team,
Yeah.
he trained a couple of those. One went to Redlands.
Yeah.
Brian?
Yeah. One went to Redlands College, and,
So there's a few of them.
but
and then
no league bound player. But I did it as like just as an
for
act
the
of service.
love of the game too. Yeah.
If people come up to me and they say, I want to play quarterback, and I see the desire in their heart, I'm like, okay, this kid's gonna listen to me. He's gonna listen to everything I say. All right, let's get you going.
So have you ever had the desire to actually like coach at like a high school or anything?
So I've always,
Be a quarterback's coach?
I've
or-
always, it's always come natural to like, I'm just gonna use the word disciple people. He's loved coaching his whole life, and it just kind of, was passed down to me. I will teach somebody the game of football to no end. I mean, when you love something so much, it's easy to teach. And
And didn't you almost get offered a job at Coronado though?
I did get offered the job, but my mom was like, "No, you need to start working after college." So I
Why, you're still living at home. That was the time to be able to
They wanted him as the head coach.
Yeah, it was
he
the
wouldn't have
offensive
got paid.
coordinator,
It
so
would've
I
been
would have
offensive
been,
coordinator.
so no pay.
I would
Yeah,
have been,
Yeah, but you lived at home, so that would have been the perfect job
it
to
was a
take.
voluntary thing, but that my mom wanted me making checks.
Yeah. No, I don't blame her.
But yeah, so I mean, just teaching is now a big part of my life. I'm transitioning now from the game of football, which I still teach to this day. I have a couple people that have interest, and I train a couple people. But now I'm more to biblical teaching, to where, I'm learning as much as I can, as best as I can from multiple different sources. And now I'm really jumping into discipling and really building up true Christians to, spearhead God's kingdom activity in Vegas.
He needs to go on the Christian Men
He does.
Unscripted podcast with Alan Underwood.
No, that'd be
And we can't forget though, like, come on, he beat Pastor Mel. He's a youth pastor at Hope,
Hope Church, yes.
right? So, and they have this little rivalry.
Turkey Bowl.
Yeah, the Turkey Bowl. So
Oh, I can't wait to tease Mel.
Mel beat him 2
Well,
years
Mel
ago.
had been winning for 9 straight years.
Yeah, he won 9 straight, and he beat him the first time they played.
So we
Then he retired, right? Pastor Trenton, who was on our podcast, he's also a pastor. at
spiritual
Hope.
formations pastor.
Yes. So then he played last year, and
Yeah,
Kevin
we
beat
ended up
him.
winning.
So that brought Mel out of retirement. So tell him how this one went.
So yeah, I mean we got to play again, and I felt great that day. Just to be able to throw the football again.
So you and
has
your
been
brother
amazing.
kicked everybody's
Oh yeah,
butt.
I made sure we were gonna win that game. But yeah, it's just any chance I can get. So those turkey bowls are a super fun time.
Well, I played last year with like Pastor Patrick's
Okay,
group.
yeah.
Pulled a hammy like halfway through again. I'm done, man. I'm done pulling
I have
hammies
to
or
apologize
whatever.
for Pastor Patrick because he invites me every year, but I'm just like, nope.
It was fun. It was fun, but
I keep Pastor.
I was
Jeff,
quarterback till I threw a couple interceptions. So
as a Steelers quarterback would. So
yeah.
Yeah, what do you expect?
So these things go fast. We're already at 43 minutes, so Jerry's going to kill us. So it
Yes,
is
he is.
time for
Story
story
time.
time. So you got a good one?
yeah,
I know we didn't even get to really talk about
we didn't.
your dad.
So-
This might have to be like a 3 episode,
We
man.
might have to.
Because I really wanted to get the down and dirty of how, if he was a good father or if he was strict or
Yeah.
all that. So
But I could save that the story I have for this episode for the next episode.
Yeah, for the next one, according to him, I'd be arrested right now for child abuse.
Yeah, that's
No. I mean, you do whatever story you want. Forget him. You come up with the stories you want. It could be a football story now that you talked most of this episode about football, or it could be one of you saving your 4 people you saved or whatever,
Community ambulance, football.
whatever you want to do.
The middle school lockdown or.
Oh yeah, I can bring that. Well, this will be a teaser for the next episode on who my dad is really. But yeah, I can do the lockdown one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hit
So my dad is a retired police officer from Metro, and yeah, I mean, he was very well known at a lot. He was a big part of. I can't think of the saying right now.
Of the what? The school?
He was always involved in when I was at school. So
Did you guys have like PAL, Police Activities League?
We did, but I didn't get him involved in that.
Yeah.
No?
No.
So, because I ran the Sheriff's Activities League. So,
No,
Yeah.
we tried to get as competitive as we could.
yeah.
So, and that's where I tried to put him in. Because he actually played with older kids all the time.
okay.
So that's why he got as good as he did.
But yeah, so here's the story now that I've set the set the scene. But oh man, this is crazy. But this is a different time, guys. It's he'd be under Guantanamo Bay if he ever did this again. But so I was in middle school. It was towards the end of the school day, and yeah, it was just a normal day, nothing crazy. But then, like maybe 15 minutes before we were released from school, we get a lockdown alarm going off, and we get those all the time, and we live in a if you don't know the Bob Miller Middle School area, it's pretty. You don't see guys like him. You see more guys like him, a little less melanated, a little Richie Rich, hoity-toity kind of
I'm
place.
definitely not Richie Rich, just so we're clear. I may be a little more white, but not Richie Rich. But okay. I think he got more money than me in retirement.
A little less melanated area of the city. But anywho, so we get that alarm and we're just like, oh, it's BS. It's just another, one of
So
those.
you would have been the DEI hire at your school.
Absolutely. I was the DA. They made me take pictures for the pamphlets and everything. No,
I'm kidding.
but so we're just like, oh, it's BS. Everyone just get under the table. It's one of those practice runs, so in case the real thing happens. But we were there for 30 minutes after release, and we're just like, why haven't they let us go yet? Like, is this training there or something? So that 30 minutes finally happens, and the alarm goes. The announcer finally says, all right,
clear,
guys,
right?
everything's clear. You're good to go home. Have a nice day. So I'm just like, all right, what the heck was that about? So as I'm leaving, Bob Miller Middle School has like a roundabout in the backside of the school, and that's where my dad would pick me up instead of the main street. So my dad would park in this little area towards the front, so we can get out fast. Because my dad, from picking me up school, would go straight to work. So I know my dad parks in the same spot every time. So as I open the double doors, I see 18 Henderson police cruisers just lined up on the street with all their lights on and everything. And right where my dad is parked, I see 4 surrounding our little expedition that we had. And I was like, what is happening? And my first thought, I was like, oh, this is hilarious. What idiot just got themselves in trouble, What moron really just had all these cops
You weren't
called
thinking
on.
it was your dad.
No, not at all. So I'm like, what an idiot. This is hilarious.
Did you think your dad was maybe taking someone down? Or
No, I was just for whatever reason, I decided to walk towards. I was just ignoring all the police. I was ignoring the scene. I just walked right towards where our truck was supposed to be. And so I see my dad talking with like 4 police officers, like just all surrounding him. Well, not really surrounding, but like.
No, they weren't.
Yeah.
They were around me.
Yeah. So I think one of them was a captain, right?
The
Yeah.
captain
The
came
captain
down,
was
yeah.
talking directly to him. I'm like, what's going on? And my dad's just like, just get in the car. We're gonna leave soon. And yeah, through the whole thing, my dad was just kind of like pushing it off, like, nothing happens. Just some ladies trying to get me in trouble or something.
Karen.
Yeah. I think my dad met the first ever Karen. But so I was just like, what happened? Why is there so many cops here? Like, what'd you do? And he was like, forget about it. It's just some dumb lady. And I was like, all right. And we get home, and then I think it took years for him to finally.
He
tell me
didn't
the
tell
truth.
you, like,
No.
on the drive
He
to
was
your...
like, don't worry about it. It was dumb. I was like, And so I'm just like, all right. And then years later, after he retired, so there's a statute of limitations or something like that.
So he literally didn't tell you the
No.
story till after he retired.
No, I think he was.
He didn't tell me the full
I think
detail.
he was in high school when I told
Yeah.
them all like what really happened.
So my dad was having a training day for shooting. Metro has designated training days to shoot
And
all
we were
day
going to the range
to
that
practice. So from dropping me off, he goes straight to his training day. What he didn't tell me was that he was running late, so he didn't have time to clean his guns. So he decides in his vehicle, which is a Ford Expedition that's lowered because the airbags blew on the back of the vehicle, so it looks like a lowrider. So he's cleaning a Glock in the driver's seat.
And I'm
of the
brown.
car. Yeah, in the driver's seat, right next to the school.
Across the street in my defense.
Yeah, so some little white lady, with the Karen haircut, the little Shih Tzu she's probably walking. She sees a Hispanic male in a wife beater cleaning a Glock with a field stripped M16 in the passenger seat, right next to the school. Well, like on the street adjacent to the school.
Was it considered school property though?
No.
Or- no.
So yeah, she sees that
And calls.
and calls police. And to this day, my dad still thinks he's not in the wrong.
I'm not in the wrong.
I know I never would have did that,
In
but
my defense, I was like you said, field strip, oiling them. She passed by, and then I heard the announcement on the thing. So I got out of my expedition and I walked down. As soon as the vice principal came, who I was good friends with, and she's like, "Oh, it's you." Like she already knew. She didn't even ask. Because obviously they had already said, hey, there's somebody with guns in the parking lot, which I wasn't in the parking lot. But anyway, she already knew. And then the 2 school police came because I made it a point to become friends with the school police, right, at Coronado and at Bob Miller. Mm-hmm. So they came and they're like, dude, like, we can't call Henderson off. Like, we can't call and say, hey, it's all good.
Yeah.
Henderson's going to respond. And like he said, they responded with, it was a shift change. So every cop available showed up.
They were bored that day, so
And,
all of them showed
their
up.
captain, who later on I met, and he actually was a good guy, gave Ethan like his card or something, but he was a good guy. But yeah, so then instead of like treating me like a bad guy, all the Henderson guy was like, whoa, because I have a nice.
so none of them went.
In the beginning, they went towards my truck that way. But like I said,
But
I
you
had
were
left-
still walking
I
back.
had left to go talk
So
to the
you
school.
see cops,
Yeah, they're doing their little 4-man team coming up to the passenger side.
and they saw that it was empty.
And empty, but they saw my guns in them because I didn't have a chance to put them away, so they were still on the seat.
So insane to think about if that would have happened today.
And then you just badged them and said, I'm
I
freaking
did.
Metro, so get out of my face.
I said,
Because
I'm
I'm the best agency there is in the world. Metro.
I'm Metro, you're in my county.
Yeah.
Beat it. But they didn't listen to me. So I had to call my lieutenant, who actually played with the Kansas City Royals, and he was a sponsor for their kids when he was at Coronado as a senior for his kids. So I called him, and then over the phone you could hear him yelling at this captain because he's very loyal and protective of his guys, and he's yelling at him like, you better release my guy now. He's telling me you've been holding him for like 20 minutes, because I don't know.
They do have an hour here to investigate.
But here's the thing, though. Like, to me, afterwards, my badge wasn't enough to tell you I'm a cop.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, why did I get held that long?
Yeah.
Why did I have to call my lieutenant to get me out of that? You see what I'm saying? Why wasn't my badge? And it wasn't the first time that my badge did. They actually had to confirm who I was. Because in my academy, there was only one Mexican and one black. And the rest were all white. So, you still had a little bit of that going, like he said, So
So you think that would be in racial?
I mean, in the defense of the little white lady, you see a Hispanic male
with a gun,
cleaning
in a
gun
lowrider.
in a
But
white
she's
beater.
not lying. We did have a lowrider.
Yeah, a little racial profiling won't hurt here and there.
Which, I mean, you can't get mad at her. She did what was best for the school.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
You know.
absolutely.
And this is before.
Yeah,
there
you
was-
were in the wrong totally.
No, I was not.
I'm not. Yeah,
Absolutely not.
I'm glad Karen called.
you want-
Yeah.
There was no school shooting going to happen there while I was there. While these kids were in school, there was absolutely nothing going to happen.
She
while I
didn't know
was there.
that. She thought you were gonna light that school up.
Well, this is as good a story as Trenton had for the fire, man.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
but I forgot to tell you that Kevin started putting the AR-15 back together.
Oh, yeah. Now we're pulling legs here.
That would have been
No,
funny.
he did it. He knows how to shoot them, but he
Yeah.
wasn't putting it together.
Oh, I'm not touching that crime scene. I'm not an accomplice.
My fingerprints are nowhere.
Yep. I will not be an accomplice that night.
Well, Kev, we appreciate you coming on. We're going to do maybe 2 more episodes, but for sure another episode. And so again, like, subscribe, and share. And
Absolutely.
it was good to have another Lucero on the podcast.
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
and congrats on the job
By
again.
the time you guys see this, Christmas will be past. So, no,
No, it'll be the Friday before
Friday
Christmas.
before Christmas. So enjoy.
So have
your
a very
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Be safe and remember what it's all about. Jesus Christ.
Peace.
Peace. Take care.